Hello, everybody. This is Chris, and this is Barnum 11970. As always, I thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. Always appreciated. And as usual, if you want to ask some questions, all you have to do is be a part of my Google Plus page. There you can actually ask questions. We do that instead of the scrolling live chat, so this way I don't miss any questions if people want to ask them. A lot of times people just want to listen to what I have to say, but if somebody wants to say something really quick, make a statement, make a comment, you're more than welcome to. All you have to do is go to my Google Plus page. You'll see the live video over there. Just click on that, open the window, and you'll see on the right-hand side the ability to ask questions. So you're more than welcome to, or make a statement. But I want to talk about, like this says in the title, no regrets. In life, we always regret the things that we end up not doing. Oh man, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have taken that advice, or, I wish I would have talked to that guy or girl. Regret is not doing something. Now, if you've been following my channel for a little while now, you know about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, I decided to end my comic book channel. We're not going to get into the reasons or anything like that. And to this day, I have to say it was a very good decision, and I do not regret it. And I want to teach people out there that sometimes in our lives, we go down a road, and we think for some reason, whether we're programmed that way or we're afraid to venture off the road, we think that's the only road we're allowed to take. And sometimes there's going to be the bridge is out sign. There's going to be scary places that we're going. There's going to be dead ends. And it's okay to backtrack. It's okay to go in another direction. Sometimes in life, you get a learning lesson by going down one particular road. You learn what it is you have to learn, and then you have no need to be there anymore. So there's an old saying that I heard from somebody a long time ago that sometimes people or situations are in your life for a season, reason, or a lifetime. You ever have it where you meet a person, maybe a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend, or a business partner or something, and it only lasts for a little while? Sometimes it's you just get out of it what you needed to learn, and you move on. So that's the season. A reason is, sometimes, you ask a question, you do your praying, or you're like, well, why is this certain thing happening? And then all of a sudden somebody or something happens in your life that's very similar or exactly what you needed to hear. And maybe somebody came along to kind of help you along with that question or concern, and then all of a sudden they disappear. That's the reason. And then there are some people that'll be in your life forever. Now, when I was in the comic book community, I met some really great people. I started expanding my channel to interact with people. I was doing live shows every week where anybody was invited. I was, doing auction shows, things like that. And I think the more you involve people on the internet, maybe there's jealousy, maybe there's anger, maybe there's confusion. I don't know. I can't answer for somebody else's thought process. But ultimately, in the end, I decided that even though I was loving it, after a while, I was not loving it anymore. And I decided to spend more time here. And if you could see by the comments, it definitely seems positive. And I've been recommending to people, maybe this is the time where people are starting to see that, things that I talked about years ago, I can understand where people say, oh, that's paranoid, that's crazy. But even the people that are into mainstream media news are starting to see how obvious this stuff is getting. Just dropped my microphone, so if you hear clicking for a second, I'm just putting it back together again. My cat just knocked it off the table. Sorry about that. So more and more people are starting to see, more and more people are starting to speak out, more and more people are starting to lose the fear. But when it comes to regrets in life, trust your instincts. Go with what you believe in. And just remember that you could be having goals and say, okay, this is what I want in my life, or this is who I want in my life. If you're not meant to be with that person, or you're not meant to continue down that road because it was just there for a season or a reason, then it's okay to let it go. just learn from whatever happened. Because you ever notice in life, especially in relationships, that if you don't learn from a lesson, you keep getting it over and over again, just a different person with the same situation. It's because you're trying to teach yourself a lesson. And because the universe works by energy and magnetism, the energy you give off is the energy you're going to get back. Whether you understand that or not is, at this point, I'm not here to baby some of the people who don't get it. This is talking to people that do understand that life is energy. I mean, we're made of light. Light is electricity. Electricity is energy vibrating at different levels of vibration. And magnetism is what holds everything together. And you give off an energy. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you're not doing it. So you're going to get back what you give. It may not be all the time immediate, because I mean, if you're at the Grand Canyon and you scream out, it's going to take a few seconds before the echo comes back. It's not instantaneous. It's the same thing a lot of times with life, to see if it's something you really want. So don't regret your decisions if you truly believe in them. Now, if you rushed into something and didn't really do your due diligence, you didn't research, or you didn't get to know a person, or you didn't give a job a fair chance, and you just leave right away, that's where regrets come in. Because my comic book channel was almost a year and a half old. And for about a year, some of the trolls that were trolling me here, and I'm not going to even dignify their names, actually followed me to the other place. And they didn't win. Because in the end, when life throws you a lemon, you make lemonade. And when you're not happy, don't do something just because other people want you to do it. If you're not enjoying it, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And you're never, ever stuck. Now, of course, there are exceptions to that rule where there are some people where it's going to be extremely difficult. But nothing is impossible when it comes to changing a career or changing a partnership or changing a thought pattern. Just trust your instincts, trust your decisions, even if you don't have the answer to them right away. It can take time. I don't have any regrets with anything I do. Now, that doesn't mean I do everything right. But if I believed in what I did was right at the time, even if it ends up being wrong, I don't regret it, because at least I made the opportunity to test it out. And some people are just the people that just do everything safe. They're the type of people that, talk about the lottery numbers the day after they've been spoken. It's very easy for people to do that and say, oh, see, that other person was wrong, I'm right, when they're just regurgitating what everybody else does at that moment. Because they're afraid to take a chance and actually do something about it. Now, remember, in your lifetime, you are going to make mistakes. But those mistakes are there to teach you, well, don't ever do it again. Learn from it, which makes you better. So don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake. I mean, to err is human. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. And the reason for mistakes is so we can learn and grow and become better. So it's okay. But don't regret what you did. Even if you make a decision where everybody disagrees with what you are doing or thinking or saying, if you believe in what you're doing, thinking, and saying, then it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And the problem with this day and age is so many people are so afraid of being judged, so afraid of having people point at them and say, oh, look, that person's different, that they're trying to make the world all the same. Like the video I made earlier about, trying to get everybody one gender. I mean, if you take a magnet, if you take one magnet and show the positive side, and you take the other magnet and show the positive side, you try as hard as you can to put them together, they won't connect. But if you take the positive side of one magnet and a negative side of the other, they draw towards each other. It is the diversity. It's the male and female energies. They're supposed to be separate. They're supposed to be different. If everything was the same, what a boring world and existence this would be. So if you're different, if you think differently, if you pray differently, if you act differently, if you dress differently, if you have a different sexual preference, you have a different God, or you don't pray to any God. Don't regret your decision because other people make you feel that way. And trust me, I know about that. And some people have said, why do you confront the trolls? Why do you let it get to you? Well, because obviously I had to learn a lesson. And like I've said, if you don't learn a lesson, it'll keep coming back harder and harder until we pay attention to it. But even with all the things I've had to go through with this channel, my other channel, even my Barn on 11967 back in 2010, 2011, I don't regret my decisions because I can't control what everybody else does and says. There are some people that have been stalking me for 5+ years, and they call me the crazy one. That's just silly. But I can control what I do. And you make the same mistakes because you're not learning from them. And that's what I had to go through. And that's what wisdom is all about. Wisdom is learning through your experiences, good and bad. People are so excited when they learn something that makes them happy, but they're so afraid to learn from something that might make them sad or mad or frustrated. You can do it. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you believe in that in your heart. Trust your instincts. And these kind of videos are not going to get the large views. When I talk about drama, when I talk about things that are more about scary things in the world, the realities of gun control or the sexism and stuff like that, I'll get, talk about gold and silver, I'll get 50, 60 views. Right now, I've only got 10 to 11 viewers. It happens because videos like this are inspiring. And as much as people say they don't want drama, they pretty much do. By their actions, you shall know them. And again, like if you've seen in the title of my channel itself, it's helping unite the people one person at a time. So I'm not worried about the hundreds of millions of people who are not watching this and the dozens that watch it that don't care. I'm worried about the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that do. And it helps them get on a path or remind them that it's okay to fall off a path. You're driving on a road. Sometimes if you don't know where you're going, sometimes you'll make a wrong turn. But that doesn't mean you have to keep going in that direction. Doesn't mean you just give up and say, okay, I went the wrong way and this is a bad neighborhood and I'm scared, so I'm just getting out of my car and I'm giving up. And that's silly when you put it in that perspective, but yet we do that in life. That we feel like, I worked so hard to go in this one direction and it failed. Oh, my life is ruined. Well, I tried that with my comic book channel. I tried to bring something different to that quote-unquote community. And the funny part is, the comments from some of the people when I left, one of my subscribers that I used to subscribe to, his name is Captain Cummings, and he's one of those people I respected, didn't know him, but I respected him because he was a free thinker. He could actually do things based on research and not what other people would just regurgitate. And I respected him for that. Didn't mean we always had to agree with each other, but that's okay in life. You could disagree with somebody and still be friends or friendly with them as long as we can communicate in an adult fashion. And he made a video talking about my channel, shutting down my channel, and he asked me to watch it, and out of respect, I did. This is the only comic book channel I've seen since. And the comments from some of the people that were subscribed to me were amazing, how much they cared and how much they missed my channel. That means a lot to me, and some of them actually subscribed to me here. So yes, I spent a year and a half of my life. I was making videos minimum of 1 a day, 6 days a week, every day since the first day I started, which was December 21st of 2014. 6 videos a week every day, sometimes more. Did 3 live shows a week for a minimum of, they averaged between 4 and 8 hours long, each one. Had several people on. And I would give advice, I would give tips, I would give information and help people. And then I got to the point where it's not the trolls, trust me. The trolls, they've been bugging me and trying to do stupid things since I started my other channel back in 2010. It was when people I thought were my friends basically stabbed me in the back. That when I decided, you know what, I'm just not happy doing this anymore. I have no regrets because you know what, I did the best I could. I couldn't control the negativity, no matter what I tried to do. Every time I tried to ignore it, there was to be somebody else that would come and just say, here I am, pay attention to me. And stupid me would keep falling into that trap. That's on me. And that's why here, when I do my live shows, you notice there are no guests. I don't want that in mind. I don't want that opportunity to have people do that stuff again. Lesson learned. So no regrets. I ended up purchasing a lot of valuable comics, and I spent a lot less than what most people do because I did a lot of research. I would spend hours on eBay looking for the best deals, and I would get a lot of them. Still to this day, I do. As a matter of fact, I just got my X-Men comic. It was one of the last comics I bought right before I decided to shut down my channel. I bought myself, and it's for my future and my wife's future, our future, X-Men #1, CGC 3.0, paid $2,000 for it, and that includes next day shipping. Just got it in the mail today. That book right now is about a $2,500 book without anything happening. I paid $500 less than what the current market is going for. And I have plenty of others that are that same way. And I invested, so it helped me. So do I wish those things didn't happen? Of course. Do I wish I still had that channel? Honestly, with the people there and the way they communicated, no. Will I ever go back? Absolutely not. 100% absolutely not. My passion for that quote-unquote community is gone. Now, that doesn't mean everybody was bad. There were definitely some good people that I experienced there, and I will never forget them. But obviously, like I said, season, reason, a lifetime. That was a season. It's part of life. You're going to have that in your life. If you have an outlook in life where it's like you holding sand, and you say, none of this sand is leaving my hand. I'm going to grab it as hard as I can. You're not letting go. Well, the harder you squeeze, the more seeps through your fingers. So if you go through life thinking, oh, I have total control over everything, you're going to find that you don't. And life is going to continually show that to you until you get it. And that may take one time. It may take 1,000 times. Sometimes we need to be reminded constantly. But don't regret what you do. Be inspired to try something new. It's okay to make a U-turn and to turn back and realize that this direction's not going the way I planned it. Because when you turn around, you always find a better way. There is always better ways. And I've said this analogy before. There's a reason why streams are clear and ponds are mucky. Well, streams are constantly moving. They're constantly flowing. They're constantly changing. They're going in a direction. They're flowing. A pond is just an area of water that becomes stagnant, doesn't go anywhere, and it gets filled with algae. It probably smells, and you definitely don't want to drink it. So what do you want to be? Do you want to be a pond that just gathers dust, so to speak? Even though ponds don't get dust, I don't believe. Or do you want to be a river that's always flowing, ever changing? A river is not a straight path. It has twists and turns. Sometimes it splits apart. But eventually it reaches the ocean. You will reach your goal eventually if you don't give up on it, if you follow your heart. If you're stuck, get unstuck. If you're doing things you don't like, change it into something you do like. Whether it's scary or not, put in the effort. It's better to try and fail than to never try at all. That is regret to me. That's why I don't regret any of my decisions, even if people don't understand them, because it's okay that they don't understand my problems and my issues and the things I do, because I do them. They don't. They're seeing it from their perspective, not mine. Just like I can never understand why people do what they do. I can't understand what some of those people were doing. I can't understand why these trolls will go 5 years constantly talking about one person and call me crazy. Nor do I care. I mean, honestly, I can't say I don't care. Maybe that's the realization. I do care a little bit, but not enough to make me put a gun to my head or anything. You know, like I said, you can get knocked down. People will do their best to do it for some reason. But true strength is knowing you could get up and you could get up on your own. You don't need somebody to pick you up. And even if you did, it's okay. So there's only so much I can say about this. You got to go with your heart. You have to go with your instinct. You have to try and feel what resonates with you. And that doesn't mean it's going to be forever. Sometimes you could do something, it just gives you temporary excitement or temporary joy because it's meant to be a stepping stone to the next area of life you're going to be. So be that river that flows down the mountain, and goes through the trees, and goes through the land. Don't be afraid to have things change. You can't hold on to them. You can try. All you're doing is hurting yourself. If you're staying stagnant, that's on you. And the problem is, instead of people making the effort to switch it, they'll make nothing but excuses. Again, you're only hurting yourself. If you do nothing but justify what you do, and make excuses for what you do, and they don't make you happy, who do you think that hurts? It's time for people to take responsibility, and that's a big one. Isn't it a coincidence when it comes to government and everything, what I've said? In so many videos that if you want things to work, you have to put in the effort, you have to make the effort yourself, you have to speak out, you have to not comply. But we're all programmed to wait for the next person to come along and tell you everything that we need to hear. Because I'll tell you right now, when it comes to people like Donald Trump, I can understand why people like him, because he's not the typical politician. But if you think he's going to go into office, let's say some miracle happens and he gets elected, which I know he's not. I've already explained videos on why it's going to be the criminal, which they all are, so it's not really surprising. But let's just say there's some Christmas miracle and he becomes president. You really think he's going to keep all the promises that he made? I guarantee you, things like him wanting to stop Obamacare, he'll talk about it, he'll do research on it, he'll have those committees, and then eventually he'll say, well, you know what, I thought I would reconsider, I thought I would try and make it work and do it my way. They tell you what you want to hear. And we cheer them every single 4 years. We believe them. And he might even have the best intention to do it. But like I've said in the past, if you bring a Mother Teresa into the mafia and have her change the mafia, guess what? They're going to execute her. She's not making any change. You cannot change. One person cannot change a corrupt system. The corrupt system must fall. It's an old system. How do you make things fall? You don't participate in them. You don't give them your money or your currency. You ever wonder why people don't have, not many people have VCRs anymore? Not many people have black and white TVs anymore? How many people do you know in your house have a wind-up telephone? You want to know why you don't have them? Because they don't exist anymore, because no one buys them anymore. Yeah, you could probably find one at a yard sale or somebody on Craigslist, but you're not going to go to your local, computer chain store. I'm not going to plug anybody, and go there and buy them. They're not there anymore because people didn't spend money on them anymore. You want to make real change? Stop giving your money to a corrupt system, and it will crumble. Because if everybody tomorrow around the world decided, you know what, taxes are illegal, immoral, and they shouldn't be done, and every single person decided not to pay them, what are they going to do, arrest the entire planet? Good luck with that one. But my point is, money to them is their power. That's why they manipulate it so much. That's why they trick people. Even though I've explained it so many times how the manipulation goes, people are still out there in the world not getting it. The people listening do. But we can only do so much. It's the sleeping masses that don't get it. But you ever notice that every time another president or another person that wants your vote, wants your vote, they'll tell you everything you want to hear, and we'll believe, oh yeah, he or she sounds like they're really on our side. I can relate to that person. Really? Donald Trump, you guys can relate to him? Any of you billionaires out there who can get what they want with a snap of a finger? Now, again, like I said, I can understand why people want Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton because he's not the typical politician. But if you think if he made it in office, he's going to do a damn well a bit of any kind of change, you're kidding yourself. Because either he's going to change his thought process, he's just going to wait a while, he's going to drag it out for a year or two so people don't pay attention because there are plenty of things that distract you so you won't even notice, or he's going to get murdered. One of the two. If you think anyone is going to go and become president of a corporation and change things, you don't get it. If I'm the president of a major company, if I'm the owner of a major company, and I hire you as a president, good luck trying to override my authority. It ain't going to happen. And if you think around the world that your presidents and your queens or your parliaments or whatever runs your country really can make change, you don't get how this corrupt system works. The banks own everything because when you borrow money, quote unquote, from a bank, you need collateral. Countries borrow quote unquote money from banks. Their collateral is their land and their people on the land. When they give away the land, the only thing left is the people. You can make money off of people, can't you? Via taxes, sending them to prison, free labor, getting all the people to run around and not only doing all the work for them, but applauding you for allowing them the privilege. Boy, did this go off on a tangent. But then again, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I will do that. Again, no regrets in what I do. See, there's the irony for you. So as usual, people don't ask questions, because like I said, most people just want to hear what I have to say, and I kind of like that. I like the fact now on this channel, I don't have to worry about spending 5 or 6 hours talking to some people about fights and just drama and silly things. I can just do my own channel, listen to the comments that people, they appreciate it, and the ones that are just rude and obnoxious, I just block them. And I don't care if they cry about it. I don't regret anything I do, right or wrong, and neither should you. Be happy with your decisions and know that in life, things are going to change, and that's a good thing. If you kept going to the same place day in and day out, you'd go crazy after a while. Sometimes you need variety, you need change. So if something in your life that maybe at one point you really loved, maybe someone or something, and all of a sudden that passion's gone, for whatever reason, don't try and cling on to it, hold on to it. I mean, even in relationships, I've seen, and I used to make fun of people at this all the time. It's like, when I was dating a girl, and they left or it wasn't going right, I was like, if you want to leave, go ahead. There's always going to be somebody else to replace you. I'm not going to chase after. I'm not going to waste my energy chasing after somebody who may not have wanted me. And yeah, it took me 40 years to find the right one, but I found the right one. Better late than never. And I've seen so many people, it's like they stalk their exes or say, oh, if I can't have you, nobody will. It's like, if the person doesn't want to give you what you deserve, then let them go and find somebody else willing to give you what you deserve. Holding on to something that's basically dead to you in the heart brain area makes no sense. But people do it because they're afraid of the alternative of being alone. True strength is knowing you could be alone. You just prefer to be with somebody that makes you a better person. My wife could easily be alone if she wanted to. I could easily be alone if I wanted to. It doesn't mean we're bad people. We're strong people. But we're better together. So if you're in a relationship where you're not happy, you may have been happy for years, but don't hold on to something that's dying or is dead. I mean, that's like, some sick person when their pet or family member dies, they keep the dead body in the house saying, oh, I don't want to get rid of that. This is my whatever. Let go of the things that need to be let go of. There's a reason why it no longer feels the same way it did. Because it's time to move on. It's time to become better. It's time to go from that caterpillar into a butterfly. You have to sometimes break down the entire system to get there. That's why I tell people, don't live in fear, because the unknown is not scary. Everybody always sees the negative point of view of the unknown. What about the unknown anticipation of what exciting thing might be lurking around the corner? Why does it always have to be a monster or something negative lurking around the corner? For every bit of negative, there's the same equal amount of positive, but yet for some reason we're always worried about the worst. Be prepared for the worst. Being prepared is one thing, but expecting every day that the worst is going to happen, and you're living there saying, "Oh, I can't wait to use all this stuff that I prepared for." I bought the gold and silver. I bought things to prepare for any kind of situation. If I never have to use them, I don't have any regret, because I had it just in case. But the true regret would be the people that laugh about it, mock about it, one day needed it and can't get it because they don't have it. That's one hell of a regret that I'll never have to experience. The one they'll never understand. So we got a quick little question here. Russell Hall, and you asked a question, the only question last time, so I appreciate you taking the effort now. Russell Hall, let me just click on this so I could see what it says. Russell Hall says, why people think Donald Trump would want to be president when being president would be a pay cut? Why go from making millions a year just for thousands? Well, I can tell you I don't think he's doing it for the money. It's a person with lots of money that's saying, oh, hey, I could buy my way into being president. That's basically what it is. Probably just like, I want to try, race car driving. Never had a race car, but I got the money. Why not? But like I said, I can understand why people actually say they relate to him. I think they mean they relate to his thought process on a certain level. But they can't relate to him. I mean, he's a billionaire playboy that's done a lot of horrible things in his life. Let's not put him out to be a saint or a savior. He's not. And people are just tired of the same BS politicians that say everything you want to hear. But I can guarantee he's doing the same thing, just doing it a lot different, a lot more different. But if he made president, all the things he's promising now, all the things that are going to get him the votes, not going to happen. Even if he had the intention of making it happen. Because he's just the president of the corporation, it's the owners that control it. Because like I said, the banks lend out money to countries. Countries have to give collateral. And if they can't pay back the loan, they have to give up their property. Look, for example, Greece. Look, example, what happened to Germany after World War I. This has happened several times. And because the scheme is they only create the principal amount and not the interest, every country eventually goes into debt. There's a reason for the paper scam. The scam started in England back in around the 1400s, where the first bank lent money, quote unquote, to the King of England so he could build up the British Empire. Anyone ever wonder how a country with so limited amount of resources could be a world power for hundreds of years? It's because during that time, money was created by whatever you could extract from the area that you owned, where you were occupying. And England was approached by the first beginnings of the banks, or what would eventually become the banking system, and said, we're going to give you credit. And they were the first country in history that could build an army with an unlimited supply of credit. No other country could match that because they were basing their ships and their armies and their weapons and their armor based on all the material they could extract from their area. The King of England at that time, and I don't have the name, I don't have the year because it's irrelevant, was basing it all on credit so they could build an army 100 times bigger than anybody else in Europe, even though they were one of the smaller countries and didn't have that many resources. But here's the thing. If you thought you were getting that, if that king thought he was getting that credit for free, he was crazy, because when he had to pay it back, and they only created the principal amount and not the interest, I'm sure it was a lot more, different back then. He had to have collateral. What was his collateral? His kingdom, his people, his servants. And they said, oh, we'll let you keep the unofficial title of king, but make no mistake, you don't rule. The people will think you rule because we'll tell you what to say, and you'll be the one that says it. We'll be in the shadows, so no one will ever know we're there. So everybody will still think you have the power, so we're going to let you have all your wealth. Because you don't care about your people, really, if you think about it. As long as you and your family are fine and well taken care of, and your children's children's children will be well taken care of, as long as you shut up. This is what's going on in the world. It's been happening for a long time, but because we're supposedly so, quote-unquote, civilized, and technology and all these things, and all the movies that are out there, people think this can't be happening. It's crazy for them. Says the people who never research anything and just don't believe in anything that doesn't resonate with them. That's fine. And that's why, like, even though I go off on tangents every now and then, this is titled No Regrets. I don't regret anything I'm talking about. And there are people that are listening because they care, for whatever reason. And like I said, there could be 90% of the people listening right now could be sitting there rolling their eyes and saying, oh, that's silly. If a person is actually listening to what I say, rolling their eyes and saying how silly and crazy it is, that's more a reflection of them than me. Because if they're going to waste their limited energy on this planet listening to somebody they don't like, well, how dumb is that? But I think if you see the comments that people leave, the majority of people are here because they resonate with what I say, and they do it via their own free will. It is not mandatory to watch one of my videos. I appreciate when people give it a thumbs up. I love it when people leave comments, and it makes me feel good to know so many people have subscribed. I mean, I'm only a couple of hundred subscribers away from hitting 25,000 subscribers. That's amazing. But I don't regret anything I've done, even if it has been controversial or even if it's been wrong. And you should never regret what you do, because you're always going to have crossroads. It's there to make you make a decision. Because if you're standing in the middle of a highway, not sure what direction you go, you're going to get run over. So you better make a decision and trust it. And if you make the wrong one, you can always go back and try again. That's the beautiful thing about video games. When you play a video game, your character could die, and you can just start over again until you get it right. Now, obviously, we don't have that luxury unless you believe in reincarnation. We'll save that for a video for another time. Got one last question, we'll end it from there, and I want to thank everybody that's been watching and listening. Russell Hall says, the Treaty of Versailles bankrupt Germany, so that is the purpose of war. Of course. Because war requires money. Soldiers don't work for free. People that build the ammo, guns, the tanks, and all that other stuff, the uniforms, the food rations, they don't do it for free. They don't do it out of the kindness of their hearts. They expect to get paid. Governments have to borrow money from banks, and the best part is the banks lend to both sides. It's all about money. When all else fails, they can't fix the economy, you create a war, because that stimulates an economy. If you don't know that, then you don't research history, and there's no way I can help you. So they tried to blame the economy on the Brexit. They tried to blame it on lowering or potentially raising interest rates. They don't want to tell you about how the scam works, so they're always trying to point the finger at everybody but themselves. You know, if you open a door and a person behind that door punches you in the face, well, you should learn really quickly, I shouldn't open that door. But let's just say out of curiosity, you want to see if that person's there. You open the door again, he punches you in the face. At that point, you should say, all right, I should not open this door because it seems like every time I open the door, there's a person there punching you in the face. If you continually open that door, that's your own stupidity. You notice how governments, printing money doesn't work? Let's print more money. Oh, wait, that didn't work? You know what we should do? Print even more money. Quote unquote money. That's not working? Oh, you know what? We're going to have to try something different. Let's print more money than the last time. And then we'll keep doing this. And there's people with ties and degrees that try and convince you that's a smart idea. Let's keep doing the same thing. Oh, wars don't really bring us closer to a utopia? Guess we'll have another one. We'll call them things like civil war, because, wars are civil. We'll get great names. We'll inspire people. We'll make them have their patriotic flags waving as we steal their money. So we need a way to build, to have the economy. We got to have a scapegoat. We wouldn't want people to realize we're the ones that do it. We're the ones that cause the wars. That's why they never bomb the presidents and the kings and the dictators. If you think they did that to Hitler, you don't know history. Obviously, I can't prove that because I wasn't there, but gun to my head, Hitler wasn't the person that was set on fire at the outside of his bunker. Just my opinion. But you ever notice, like when they bombed Japan, they didn't bomb where the emperor lived. They bombed 2 towns, the furthest away from the emperor. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What did they have? People. What do countries need to make money? People. You kill the people, you kill the money. That's why they gave up. It's killing their cattle. They don't bomb each other. They bomb the people. Because if you think your president, your king, your whatever leader in your country around the world, if you think they care about you because they say so, their actions speak louder than their words. Do their actions show you that they care about you? Other than giving you a couple little free things here and there. Because trust me, they can get trillions of dollars in an instant. So what would stop them, if they really cared, what would stop the government from borrowing money or creating money out of thin air and say, you know what, we're going to give everyone on the planet $1 million. You don't think that would solve world hunger? You don't think that would stop people from stealing and fighting? Just imagine if everybody on the planet was given $1 million of these dollars to buy whatever they want. You don't think the economy would speed up? They borrow trillions of dollars to create nuclear weapons that they'll never use. And for all the other things that they wasted on, you're telling me they couldn't just create that out of thin air and say, you know what? We're going to give everybody on the planet $1 million. If you're alive and you can prove you're alive, here you go. Here's your check for $1 million. Have fun spending. World peace would probably happen. But that's crazy, isn't it? Because they don't want that. They make trillions of dollars all around the world. How much of it are you getting? They're telling you, oh, it's to stimulate the economy and help the trades and all this. Yeah, that benefits the very few at the top. How is it benefiting you when your countries are going bankrupt and people are getting poorer, and they're getting angrier, and they're losing everything, and all their structures around them are falling apart? Just look at countries. Just look at like states like Detroit. It's falling apart. That's politicians showing you they care as they're driving around in their limousines. The real regret is going to be the people that have just let this slide by because they're getting a little tiny minuscule piece of their humongous pie, and they just dangle a couple of crumbs and you thank them for it, you defend them for it. The biggest regret is one day they're going to wake up, even those little crumbs are going to be gone. Because if you think they give a damn about you because they've been paying you off for a certain amount of time, you're fooling yourself. You will find out long enough, soon enough. So I'm going to end this video before I regret anymore. Hopefully you did not regret listening. And if you did regret, you appreciate the things I have to say, and if you want to give it a thumbs up, that's cool. There will be no gun to your head making you do it, but it's damn well appreciated, those who take the effort to do it. So thank you very much for everything you do. Don't ever give up. Don't regret the things you do. And sometimes things in life change. Just go with the flow. Be a river. As Bruce Lee once said, be water, my friend. Go with the flow. Thanks for watching.